You're listening to the My Simplified Life podcast, and this is episode number 83. Welcome to the My Simplified Life podcast, a place where you will learn that your past and even your present don't define your future. Regardless of what stage of life you're in, I want you to feel inspired and encouraged to pursue your dreams, simplify your life, and start taking action today. I'm your host, Michelle Glogovac, and I'm excited to share my stories and life lessons with you while taking you on my own journey. This is My Simplified Life. Hey friends, welcome back to another episode. I'm your host, Michelle Glogovac. A couple of weeks ago, I aired a solo episode entitled Speaking Up. I talked about how as white moms, it's high time we start speaking up about racism and raising our children to do better and be better. This topic fires me up like nothing else, and I feel that there needs to be more discussion about what it means to raise anti-racist children. More resources, more listening, more holding space. I'm not a perfect mom or person by any means. I acknowledge my shortcomings and my mistakes, and I do my very best to learn from them. But when it comes to our kids, we really only get one shot at doing it right. No pressure, friends, but this is something you don't want to F up, because it'll be a trickle effect for generations to come. When I say we have this one shot, I'm talking about instilling the right morals and beliefs that they will hold on with them forever. I'm going to start off by giving you some examples of how I'm not a perfect mom, because this is reality. My kids fall asleep at night while I sit outside their bedroom door in the hallway. They are 5 and 6, and I am well aware that this is one of my shortcomings. Someone usually calls out in the middle of the night at least 3 or 4 times a week. My daughter loves fruit, and I'm amazed she hasn't turned into a strawberry or an orange yet, but she's not a huge fan of meat or vegetables unless it's corn. My son, on the other hand, will eat steak and chicken like it's his last meal, but won't touch fruit other than bananas and pineapple. I don't force it on them. I know a healthy diet is important for them, and I secretly incorporate healthy ingredients, and they are always willing to at least try something new once. When we have a meal that they've never had before, they've figured out that they will most likely enjoy it because mom knows the flavors they like. They've learned to trust me. Trust is a big word. It's a word and a feeling that good relationships have. If you don't trust your partner or spouse, your friend or business partner, then what kind of relationship do you really have? You don't have one. Our children are born with an innate trust for us as their moms. They know that when they cry, we'll feed them, change their diaper, keep them warm, and keep them clean. They trust us to teach them what they need to know. Stop for a moment and go back to when your kids were mere infants. Have you ever really thought about how you've taught your child to feed themselves, to use the bathroom on their own, dress themselves, read, ride a bike, and everything else in between? We leave the greatest impressions on our children, and they trust that we as their moms wouldn't lead them astray. So they absorb the lessons we teach them, and in most cases, will never question why we do what we do or believe what we believe. This is where raising anti-racist children begins. It starts with our own actions and what we teach our children. I shared with you just a couple of my shortfalls as a mom. I also raise my voice too much at times, get frustrated that clothes and toys aren't picked up, and oftentimes worry that I'm not playing enough Barbies or dinosaurs. This past week, though, I've had some aha moments. The first moment was on one of our daily morning walks before school. There's a family a few streets away, and the parents are white, but they have black children. I don't know their names, but I know which house they live in, and have always waved and said hi when I pass by. That morning, the dad had just backed out of the driveway, and suddenly the back window to the car started to go down. A little hand came out. This was also the first week of in-person school, mind you, and both of my kids waved and yelled hello and wished this tiny little hand that waved back to them to have a fabulous day in school. The dad and I exchanged big smiles, and I told the kids that they were very kind. Declan, who was 6, said, "You never know if you just made someone's day, because that little girl could be scared to go to school, but us making her smile might have made her less scared." I told my husband this story, and on our way to school drop-off, he told them how proud of them he was for being so kind to our neighbors. Declan then told my husband that he should tell me he's proud of me because, quote, "Mommy taught us to be this way." It's in a moment like that that you know you're doing something right. When your child recognizes not only to be kind to others and to try to make their day, but that it's something you strive to do as well. They're watching us. They're always watching us. Another aha moment that I had this week was when I decided to ask the other parents at school about Teacher Appreciation Week. I don't know how our teacher does what she does, but she does it with the biggest smile on her face every day. 23 tiny humans online, and now online and in person all day long. She's a saint, and I think that she should be recognized every day of Teacher Appreciation Week and more. So I emailed all of the other parents offering to organize the week, but asking for contributions. The replies I received via email and during pickups didn't just involve teacher appreciation, but an appreciation for Declan and how he's been treating their children. One mom said that her daughter is extremely shy, but Declan goes out of his way, both online and in person, to let her daughter know that she doesn't have to be afraid to speak up and that he will listen to her. This was the first I'd heard of him doing this, and I basically think my heart could explode right out of my chest at this point, because he's not only being kind, but he's being empathetic to what others are going through. Now, you might ask, what does this have to do with anti-racism? And the thing is that none of the kids in these stories are white. It's not that my son doesn't recognize different skin colors, because he does. We've talked about it at home. His teacher has talked about it, and he's also mentioned that he has black and brown friends and that he's white. He also talks about how it doesn't matter what skin color someone has. We all deserve to be treated the same. No one should be made to feel different because of their skin color. This is what he is taught in our household, and this is where raising anti-racist children begins, right here at home. Your children are watching not only how you treat yourself and them, but how you treat others, whether that's in everyday life or what you say when talking back to the television, because we all do that. They're watching and they're listening. So how do you raise an anti-racist child? Here's the secret. It begins with you. You have to be anti-racist. You have to be an ally. You have to listen to the stories of others. You have to hold space for Black people. You have to treat everyone with respect and love, regardless of their skin color. You have to understand that even questioning or rationalizing certain events is not okay. Did you rationalize the murder of Ma'Khia Bryant because she had a knife in her hand? Or did you automatically question why an officer would choose to shoot his gun multiple times when he could have used his taser or approached the situation in a non-lethal way? Have you seen the Procter & Gamble commercial where they show clips of different Black people? One has a man driving in his car. One is of a very pregnant mom and her 2 children standing on the curb at the grocery store. And another is of some teen boys in a convenience store. The commercial talks about what we assume when we see such images and goes on to show what happens after the initial clips. The man driving is actually on his way to see his grandmother and celebrate a birthday for a child. The pregnant mom is simply waiting for her husband to pull their SUV up to pack them all in the car, and the teen boys are simply buying some sodas and snacks. The work in raising anti-racist children begins with each and every one of us moms, and dads, I might add. It starts with pausing to reflect on where our minds go in various situations. What kind of conclusions do we jump to? How do we react when we see a Black person? Do you have friends or clients who aren't white? I'm not going to suggest that you suddenly start seeking out new friends simply because they're Black. That's not genuine. It's not authentic. And yet in the past year, we've seen a lot of that. As someone with an online platform, there was a collective pause last year. A pause to reflect on ourselves, the world around us, and what we needed to do better. I took this pause and I looked at my show and my business, and it was actually only then that I realized I already had a very diverse group of people in my circles. My podcast has had and will continue to have Black guests. My clients are Black. But what I was missing was that I didn't speak out enough about what I believed in. I had never taken the time to understand why Colin Kaepernick felt strongly enough about Black lives to end his own NFL career. So my work started in listening and understanding and finally speaking out and speaking up. However you decide to start your path of reflection, I want to emphasize the fact that you need to do it in a gentle and genuine way. Don't simply reach out to Black people you know casually to get their opinion, ask questions, or heck, even have them on your podcast. You might chuckle at that, but I saw it happen last year more than once. You don't have to seek out a Black person for anything, but you need to see Black people for who they are. Human beings, just like you and me. Human beings who are moms and dads, brothers and sisters, sons and daughters, and for far too long have been judged by the color of their skin, had people be afraid of them because they were darker than others, be treated like they were less than because they were simply born Black and not white. Friends, that's bullshit. You know it, and I know it, and my children are going to be raised knowing that as well. Look, I don't have all the answers, and quite frankly, I'm not an expert on any of this. But what I do know is that things are not okay, and they are not right. Yes, we've seen slight progress with the conviction of Derek Chauvin, but in the same exact moment, we see a young girl shot to death by another officer. We see Asian men and women being beaten on the sidewalk for no damn reason at all. None of this is okay. I don't want my child to grow up to be the cop who shoots and kills a Black person or holds his knee on the neck of a Black man. I don't want my child to grow up to hit an Asian person because they're Asian. I want my child to grow up to be the person who is standing up for others, coming to the aid of others, and standing next to others. I want their friends to be the same type of people. I want them to be protectors and to be protected. And the only way I can ensure this happens is by raising anti-racist children. The only way that I can ensure their friends are anti-racist is by speaking out like this and bringing more attention and awareness to Black lives and why they matter so damn much. I'm going to continue doing the work. I'm going to continue looking for resources for myself, my kids, and for you, and I will share everything I find. I will speak up and speak out, and I refuse to ever hold my tongue again when someone says something inappropriate and wrong. It's time we all get comfortable with being uncomfortable. There's no reason why we should hold back on speaking the truth to appease feelings of discomfort for a racist or someone who's blatantly ignorant. I firmly believe that in taking these initial steps, we can then work towards raising anti-racist children. Be open to learning and listening and let your children see that. Be open and honest with them. Tell them openly and frequently that everyone deserves to be treated equally. Acknowledge that there's a difference in skin colors and show them how to embrace our differences. This is not a simple task, and I know that simply being a mom is a tough job, but this is important. This is life-changing and world-changing. You're not only doing something good for your child, but you're doing something for a Black mom's child so that hopefully one day she doesn't have to worry about her baby going out at night or being pulled over and having to instruct them where to put their hands on the wheel and what to say. You're creating hope for a loving future, a future in which our children can all be happy and no one is afraid. That's powerful, and I, for one, am in awe of what we as moms are capable of doing. Together, let's raise anti-racist children. It's our duty to ourselves, to them, and to Black moms who more than deserve us to finally pull our weight. If you want to have a deeper conversation with me on this, want to talk about how you can work on this, whether on your own or with your kids, please don't hesitate to reach out. We need to have these conversations. We've got work to do, but I believe we can do this and create an epic, all-inclusive future for our children. Until next week, my friends, stay safe, stay healthy, stay happy, and stay open to doing the work that needs to be done.